Hello, I'm David Rose, and here's a look at some of our top cases this weekend with Crime Stoppers at Washington's Most Wanted. Starting with a major update on a series of armed robberies that you helped Seattle police solve. Now, 2 of the suspects are in jail tonight, facing multiple first-degree robbery charges, thanks to your tips to Crime Stoppers at Puget Sound. But a 3rd suspect is still unidentified. Now, one of the suspects caught is a 14-year-old girl, so we're blurring her face. The other is 18-year-old Dequarius Smith, who was arrested this week. Seattle police say the teenage girl admitted to posing as a prostitute to get men to pull over along Aurora Avenue North, where the victims were then robbed at gunpoint by Smith and another unidentified man. She told detectives she did it in exchange for meth, which the suspects gave her the day after each robbery. And that black and white striped purse that she was carrying turned out to be an important clue that helped you and Seattle police identify her.
If you looked at that video, kind of grainy and so forth, and you go, wow, what are the chances? Well, I think we got about 14 tips from you on this gal alone. So that tells me that you're watching this show, you know who's out there. Now we need your help in identifying the 3rd guy.
That's where you come in. Watch as the 3 suspects board a Metro bus at 85th and Aurora Avenue North on April 14th. Detectives say that's the teenage girl sitting down with Dequarius Smith there on the left. The unidentified suspect is sitting on the right. He spends most of the 3-minute bus ride to 105th and Aurora eating a bag of potato chips.
He's wearing a black hoodie, but you'll see underneath the hoodie, there's a gray line, which probably indicates he has a gray cap under there. We don't know who this guy is, and that's where you come in. We really need to know his identity.
A half hour after they got off the bus, police say Smith and the other suspect robbed a man sitting in his car 1 block away. He was the 3rd victim that week.
We're talking about armed robberies here. We're talking about victims that had their items taken, their cell phones, that put them in fear of their life.
Detectives say neither Smith nor the teenage girl would identify the 3rd suspect. So now they're hoping somebody watching tonight wants another Crime Stoppers cash reward offered in this case.
So we got 2 in custody. That's up to $1,000 each. Now we're asking you to give up the 3rd guy, and we're going to pay up to $1,000 on that one.
Here's one more really good look at that armed robbery suspect Seattle police need your help to identify. If you know his name, have photos of him, or any other information, submit it anonymously to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound at p3tips.com or through the P3 Tips app. You can download it to your cell phone for free. A 12-time convicted felon now accused of avenging an attack on his friend with a bullet. Toppenish police say Rodolfo Tijerina, or Rudy as everybody knows him, is wanted for first-degree assault and drive-by shooting. Detectives say Rudy fired a bullet into the torso of a victim on April 16th. This was not gang-related. Police say it was a violent response to the victim's attack on a woman that he knew.
Our 50-year-old victim confronted a female that owed him some money, and evidently she is a friend of Tijerina's. There was an argument over the money, and the victim punched the female in the face and then took off. And then later, Tijerina located the victim and then shot him once as he was driving by.
Rudy kept his foot on the gas and hasn't been seen since. The BMW he was driving has been found and impounded. Detectives say Rudy could be hiding in the Yakima area, but he also has ties to Seattle. His 12 felony convictions include multiple assaults, attempts to elude, several drug crimes, and unlawful possession of a firearm.
He is an armed felon, and he doesn't hesitate to shoot an unarmed individual walking along the street over a minor assault.
Well, the victim survived. Rodolfo Tijerina is 38 years old, 5'1", and weighs 150 pounds. If you can tell police where to find him, you will stay anonymous and get a cash reward of up to $1,000. Submit a tip to Yakima County Crime Stoppers through the P3 Tips app or call 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, the courageous-looking lion with the crown on this burglary suspect's longboard is a far cry from the cowardly crimes that Bellevue police say he committed last Saturday morning. Detectives are hoping you can help identify him. They say he stole a Dodge Charger after prowling an apartment building and its parking garage in downtown Bellevue.
Unfortunately, the garage door was open. It was about 10 to 4 in the morning. You can clearly see on the videotape that he is trying doors. He's trying to find an open vehicle. He's slinking his way through vehicles. You can clearly see him make his way through a vehicle, stop, try and open it, and then he moves on. He tries to walk through into the elevators, can't make it that way, but he gains access through staircases. So he's in multiple levels of this parking garage. And then about 25 minutes later, you can see him exit the building with this Dodge Charger.
The car has been found in Seattle, but now the suspect needs to be caught. Detectives confirm he brought that longboard with him to the building. It was not stolen from the complex. The lion on the bottom of it is multicolored with red, yellow, and green, and the wheels are red. Between that board and his face, somebody has to know who this guy is.
We want this guy off the street. Absolutely. We know that these suspects generally aren't one-offs, that they are repeat offenders. That's why we want people to report to us anytime there's been a car prowl, anytime there's a car theft. You can easily do that online. If it's a crime in progress, call 911. There's a pattern here. And once we get one guy or a group of people, the crime rate goes down. We know this guy is out there, and he's probably going to do this again if we don't grab him and bring him in.
All right, if you recognize him or you've seen that colorful longboard, please submit a tip right now to Crime Stoppers at Puget Sound. Use the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. You can also call 1-800-222-TIPS. It's anonymous. You will get a cash reward of up to $1,000. All you have to do is give up his name. Well, tonight, the U.S. Marshals Pacific Northwest Violent Offender Task Force needs your help to track down a fugitive who was accused of killing a woman while he was drunk and high. Take a look at Jerry Denson. King County prosecutors have charged him with vehicular homicide and reckless endangerment. Denson has been on the run since troopers say he crashed his car in 2017, and he threw the woman from the back seat of the vehicle. Tonight, the Marshals say they have new information that may help you give the victim's family some long overdue justice. The crumpled remains of this 2002 Buick show the damage from the crash on southbound I-5 that killed 28-year-old Joy Brannon on St. Patrick's Day 2017.
It's heartbreaking. It's a hole that'll never be filled.
Twyla Field says her daughter had a 5-year-old son.
Every day when I see that child, I have to go to another room and cry for him because he don't know. All he knows is his mommy is not here.
Joy was riding in the back seat of Jerry Denson's car when troopers say he lost control, hit a guardrail, then another vehicle before flipping onto its roof. Joy was thrown into the northbound lanes.
At which time she was struck a couple times by vehicles that obviously had no time to react, nor could they really even see what was going on.
A warrant was issued for Denson's arrest after blood tests showed he'd been drinking and using marijuana before the crash.
We are actively working to locate and apprehend Jerry Denson.
The U.S. Marshals say they believe Denson, who also goes by Jerry Wees, is still in Washington State. He has ties to Auburn and Seattle.
Any information about his whereabouts, how he might be making money, who he's in contact with, if anyone is helping him out, all of those things would be good tips for us.
Denson is one of the Marshals' most wanted fugitives in Western Washington right now.
We don't know what he's willing to do if he's faced with actually being arrested and being behind bars. We don't know what lengths he would be willing to take to avoid being captured. So it's very important that we get him into custody as soon as possible.
And if Jerry Denson is watching this right now, Joy's sister has a message for him.
I would just like to tell Jerry Denson, right is right, wrong is wrong, what my grandma used to say. You know, I'm not saying he went out to kill her, but, you know, we have to take ownership of our responsibilities and we have to be a man.
Well, Jerry Denson, a.k.a. Jerry Wees, is 30 years old. He is a convicted felon with a criminal history that includes assault and harassment. If you can tell the U.S. Marshals Pacific Northwest Violent Offender Task Force where to find him, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a full $1,000 cash reward. It's anonymous. You will not have to give your name. Call the hotline or use the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. A beef between three men in a bar bathroom spilled out onto the street, with both sides in the fight pulling guns on each other last December in Renton. Now, no shots were fired, but one of those men, Brandon Calhoun, right here, is a convicted felon. He's not legally allowed to even have a gun. So it's no surprise that police say he fled as quickly as he could before officers arrived.
Calhoun ran into a nearby bar. He actually ditched his gun inside the bar, Renton police were already dispatched, already on their way there because of the altercation. They chased after Calhoun. They found him laying on the ground out the back door of the second bar. They easily were able to find him because he's just laying on the ground. They took him into custody without incident.
Well, Calhoun got out of jail, but then he never showed up to court. So now he has an arrest warrant for unlawful possession of a firearm. He's been convicted of illegally having a gun, as well as for felony harassment in Chelan County in 2016, attempting to elude in Snohomish County in 2018, and theft and robbery in the state of Texas in 2005. Calhoun was out on bail for a separate case in Renton when he was arrested at that bar in December. In that case, he's charged with domestic violence assault and obstruction.
The fear is that he might hurt somebody else for no reason, because he gets upset or because he's drinking. So we need to get him back behind bars as soon as possible.
Brandon Calhoun is 32 years old. He's 6 feet 2 inches tall, and he weighs 230 pounds. Submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound if you can tell police where to find him. You will remain anonymous. You'll get a cash reward of up to $1,000 if that information leads to his arrest. That's a look at some of the cases we're featuring this weekend. To see all of them, join me for Washington's Most Wanted. Tonight at 11 o'clock on Q13 Fox. Tomorrow night at 9:30 on Joe TV, 10:30 on Q13, and 10:30 on Fox TV stations in Spokane, Yakima, and the Tri-Cities. If you can't tune in live, please record the show and watch at your earliest convenience. We need your help to stay safe. Let's make sure these criminals have nowhere left to hide.